الحمد لله ولي الصالحين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا أدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. My audience here with me and my viewers at home, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome to our program Ramadan Talk. This is the third episode and this year's program is coming to you from the University of Nottingham. As we said in the previous programs, that this year we're going to stick to the book of Bulughul Maram, the chapter of fasting, and today we're going to continue from where we stopped in the last episode. عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنه.
قال المؤلف رحمه الله: وعن ابن عمر رضي الله عنه قال: تراءى الناس الهلال فأخبرت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أني رأيته فصام وأمر الناس بصيامه. رواه أبو داود صححه ابن حبان والحاكم.
طيب, the hadith reads, عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما. Ibn Umar, his name is who? Abdullah. We said in the last episode his name is Abdullah. He's one of the youngest of the companions, right? رضي الله عنهما. Always when the father is a companion and the son is companion, you said رضي الله عنهما. Now when you said an Abi Hurairah, you said رضي الله عنه. When you said an Ibn Umar, because Abdullah is a companion and his father is companion, you said رضي الله عنهما. May Allah be pleased with both, right? He said, Tara an-nasul hilala, that the people tried sighting the moon at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Tara an-nasul hilala, فَأَخْبَرْتُ النَّبِيَّ صلى الله عليه وسلم أَنِّي رَأَيْتُهُ. Then I told the Prophet ﷺ that I have seen it. فَصَامَ فَأَمَرَ النَّاسَ بِصِيَامِهِ. The Prophet ﷺ fasted and he commanded people to fast. So whenever, now this comes to who has the right of sighting the moon. We said in the previous episode that in the classical era of Islam, it has to be sighted with naked eyes. And even if only one person, in some books of jurisprudence, they stipulate that it has to be two people. But this hadith said that it's even if only one person, if he's trustworthy, and he said that I have seen the moon, and he's trustworthy, then you can command the fasting of Ramadan. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, Abdullah ibn Umar, only a young person and only one person testified that he sighted the moon. The Prophet ﷺ fasted and he also commanded people to fast. In the next hadith, the hadith will elaborate more on the conditions of sighting the moon. عن ابن عباس.
وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنه أن أعرابيا جاء إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال: إني رأيت الهلال. فقال: أتشهد أن لا إله إلا الله؟ قال: نعم. قال: أتشهد أن محمدا رسول الله؟ قال: نعم. قال: فأذن في الناس يا بلال أن يصوموا غدا. رواه الخمسة وصححه ابن خزيمة وابن حبان ورجح النسائي إرساله.
طيب, we said the first hadith is reported by Abu Dawud and is authenticated by Al-Hakim and Ibn Hibban. The second hadith is also an Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma, from Abdullah ibn Abbas. We know Abdullah ibn Abbas is from the household of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is from Ahlul Bayt. What is the relationship between Abdullah ibn Abbas and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Do anyone know the relationship between him?
His uncle and cousin?
Yeah. He says Abdullah ibn Abbas is like his cousin. Yeah, because Abbas is the uncle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Abdullah is also one of the youngest of the companions. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, Abdullah was 14 only. So, and Abdullah is the person that is vast and versatile in the knowledge of tafsir. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed for him. He said, Allahumma faqihu fid dini wa allimhu ta'wil. Oh Allah, give him the understanding of the religion and also the interpretation of the Quran. So almost every verse of the Quran, when you read it through the books of tafsir, you said, Abdullah ibn Abbas said on this verse. Abdullah ibn Abbas said on this verse because the Prophet ﷺ prayed for him to have the knowledge. Once Umar radiallahu anhu wanted to show the Quraysh how great Abdullah is in terms of interpretation of the Quran. Always in sittings of Umar, he will always ask Abdullah ibn Abbas, what is the ruling on this? And some companions get angry that we are older than him. This young boy, you always bring him. Then in one day, Umar wanted to show that, to justify why he's taking this step. He said, there is a short verse, a short chapter in the Quran. Who can tell me what's the interpretation of this chapter? إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا. Then the biggest of the companions started to interpret, making different interpretation. He said, okay, Yabna Ammi Rasulallah, or the son of the uncle of the Prophet, what is your take on this chapter? He said, it shows that the Prophet ﷺ is about to die. He's saying that إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ, when the victory of Allah and the conquest of Mecca, when the victory of Allah has arrived and the conquest of Mecca, and you see people getting into the religion of Allah in groups. Before, only one person used to accept Islam. Sometimes say Umar accepted Islam, now somebody accepted Islam. But after the conquest of Mecca, groups of people used to accept Islam. He said, فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْهُ. O you Prophet, supplicate to Allah and seek for His forgiveness, indicating that your time to live is about to come, because you are sent to deliver the message, and the message is already delivered. Now people are getting into religion, accepting religion of Islam in group. So he said, you see how smart this guy is. That is what the justification why I'm always asking him. So you don't have to be old, you can be as young as you are, like Hisham, mashallah, the youngest of the whole university, but he's always leading us. Jazakallahu khairan. Okay, the Prophet ﷺ, Abdullah bin Abbas reported that Anna Arabiyan ja'a ila Nabi ﷺ, that a Bedouin came to the Prophet ﷺ, faqala, and he said, Inni ra'aytul hilal. Oh, the Prophet ﷺ, I have seen the crescent. It was a day before Ramadan. Then the Prophet ﷺ, faqala, the Prophet ﷺ said, Atashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Do you bear witness that there is no deity worthy to be worshipped except Allah? Qala na'am. He said, yes. قال أتشهد أن محمد رسول الله. Do you bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah? He said, قال نعم. He said, yes. قال, then the person reporting the hadith, Abdullah ibn Abbas, said, the Prophet ﷺ said, فَأَذِّنْ فِي النَّاسِ يَا بِلَالْ أَنْ يَصُومُوا غَدًا. Oh Bilal, make a pronouncement to people to fast tomorrow. You see, the condition of someone to see that I have seen the moon is what? Is Islam. The Prophet ﷺ just asked him, did you bear witness that there is no deity worthy to be worshipped except Allah? Do you accept that I'm the Prophet of Allah? He said, yes. He said, oh Bilal, make a pronouncement to the people, make an announcement to people that tomorrow will be fasting of Ramadan. But this hadith is weak. There is a little bit mistake in the chain of isnad. But then the meaning, what Ibn Hajar wanted with this hadith is to show you that it has to be accepted from Muslim, and this is almost consensus. If a non-Muslims today come and say, hey, you Muslim, what are you doing? So we are just looking, we're starting for moon, we want to start the fasting tomorrow. I saw it somewhere there, and he went. It will be accepted from him. There is consensus that the person seeing the moon has to be a Muslim. He said, Rawahul Khamsa. We already said who are the Khamsa, right? The five people, Abu Dawud, Nasa'i, Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, and Ahmad, wa Sahih ibn Khuzaymah, wa Ibn Hibban, wa Rajjah an-Nisa'i irsalahu. In the previous episode, we talked about sighting the moon with naked eye or with some instruments. And I don't know if you have any... Brother Hisham, do you have any?
Generally, I've come across the dispute being that certain scholars mention that we can use calculations and astronomical guidelines to find out when is Ramadan, and other scholars say no, it must be seen with the naked eye. And then the next question is also, should we take this sheikh's view or another sheikh's view or Saudi Arabia's view? And this dispute is always there in the Western countries.
Well, actually, this dispute is there everywhere, not only in the Western countries. First, on the sighting of moon, are we going to use the naked eyes or are we going to use some calculations? During the lifetime of Prophet ﷺ, he forbade using calculations. In some hadiths, he said, نَحْنُ أُمَّةٌ أُمِّيَّةٌ لَا نَكْتُبُ وَلَا نَحْسُبُ الشَّهْرُ هَكَذَا وَهَكَذَا وَهَكَذَا أَوْ هَكَذَا وَهَكَذَا وَهَكَذَا. He said, we are all lettered people. نَحْنُ أُمَّةٌ أُمِّيَّةٌ. We are all lettered people. لَا نَكْتُبُ. We don't write because the Prophet doesn't write, وَلَا نَحْسُبُ. And we are not good in calculation. الشَّهْرُ هَكَذَا وَهَكَذَا وَهَكَذا. A moon, the month is these 3 times, making how many days? 30. أو هكذا وهكذا, and in the last one is وهكذا. It's either 30 days or 29 days. Therefore, if you want, you look at it with your you sight the moon with naked eyes. If you couldn't see it, the sky is cloudy, you just complete 30 days. This is how it was in the classical era and in the medieval era. But now with some technologies, then there is dispute among scholars, as you said. Some people think that we can use technology is different from calculation, from astronomy and astrology. Now this is like we're using some gadget to help us see the moon. If we can use this gadget and they are helpful, then we can use them. But now what you want to understand is there's a difference between calculation of hisab. Hisab, it's almost a consensus. It's not consensus, but the majority of the classical jurists and the medieval jurists have the opinion that we don't use calculations. But using gadget is different. Using gadget, the gadget will never show you the crescent if it's not there.
It's observation versus calculation.
Yeah, this is observation versus calculation. You get what? If the crescent is not there, then the object, the gadget will never show you. But on calculation, somebody can use calculation method, and he will say the moon is sighted, and the moon will not appear there. Do you have any addition?
I think the other question is, a lot of the time people try to go vigilante and make this on their own, make the observation on their own. When they have a local masjid or a local authority they can trust. And as Muslim laymen, we are not scholars, we should trust the scholars of our locality when making these decisions. This
is a great importance. Look at the hadith we read. Ibn Umar said, when I saw the moon, I went to the Prophet to report. He didn't say, I just fast on my own. You don't fast on your own if you see the moon. You have to report to the constituted authorities. And also, there is authentic hadith in Abu Dawud responding to this, that one of the tabi'un, the followers, called Masruq. He went to Aisha and he said, I sighted the moon, so I'm fasting. She gave him some food. He said, I'm fasting. I sighted the moon yesterday. She said, no one will consider your sighting of the moon. The Prophet ﷺ said, As-sawmu yawma tasumuna wal-fitru yawma tufṭirun. The fasting is when everyone is fasting. So, have you sighted the moon? You will have reported to the authorities, and they will announce. The fasting that is considered in Islam is when everyone is fasting. And the breaking of fasting will be when everyone is breaking the fast, but it shall not be individual. Just because I said the moon, it's something that is to be done in congregation. It's congregational obligation. It's not like it's something to be done in congregation. All Muslims are expected to do it at a particular time, so you cannot just minus yourself and say, no, I have seen it, so I will do it alone. So you're supposed to consult your local masjid, your local society. And
I think the evidence for that is when the Prophet ﷺ, both hadith, he says, فَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ يَا Bilal. Bilal announced it. There must be an announcement and everybody must know.
You see, the Prophet ﷺ asked Bilal to make the announcement, and he made the announcement, so everyone was fasting at the same time. But then the difference of geographical differences now is considered. When someone is in Saudi Arabia and the moon is sighted here, you can fast before them. When someone is in Nigeria and the other one is in Saudi Arabia, you can sight with geographical differences. You don't have to, the whole Muslim in the whole world. That's the ideal way. But even during the companions with the Prophet, sometimes in Sham they were fasting and in Medina they were not. And one of the companions said that's the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. That this is in Sahih Muslim. So on geographical differences, you can fast differently. But if you are living in a society in the same city, then you have to consult your local masjid, you have to consult your people, you have to consult the constituted authorities, the Muslim authorities. If they announce the sight of the moon, then you can start the fasting. Any other question or correction or observation? Okay. This is where we're going to stop in this episode. Till we meet in the next episode, I wish you happy fasting. May Allah accept our ibadah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.